This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Ray Hagar and I are here today, and we're going to start out by talking with David King, who is a producer in London, and he's appeared on this show several times, and we wanted to get his reaction on what happened last week with the bombing. Good morning, David. How are you?
Good morning, Sam. How's Reno today?
Reno is fine. Let me ask you this, David. From a personal perspective, you're not a reporter, we understand that, but from a personal perspective, how is London taken this bombing?
Well, they've really stood up to it. They've stood up to the terrorists and they've said, you're not going to crush us. And a few bombs here and there do not our spirit break. Obviously, people are disgusted with these people, as anybody would be, in any nation, whether it's in America or in Germany or Australia. You've got terrorists coming in and bombing the networks and the subways and the buses, and it's horrible. But the people are not laying down. That they are resolved to fight these people, to find them. The difficulty with these people, of course, is you don't know where they are, you don't know who they are.
Do you think we're looking at homegrown terrorists or we're looking at imported terrorists?
The problem, one of the great things about England is it's now such a cosmopolitan country with people living here from all races and all nationalities, that the problem is that when 20 or 30 or 50 of them decide to join Al-Qaeda or whoever this is, it's virtually impossible to find them. These could be people that are car workers in factories, in a printing factory, running the liquor store. You just don't know. But the police are all over it. It could have been a lot worse. There was about 50 or 60 actual deaths. It'll probably go up, my guess is near 100. It could have been thousands. These people attacked the busiest subway stations in London at the morning rush hour when people are on the way to work. And it's cowardice beyond belief. You know, if you want to fight someone, send an army in or do something. You don't attack innocent people. And of course, the people that have died are not staunch British people. They're tourists, they're foreigners, they're people here on holiday, they're Chinese people, they're Russian people, there's children on the way to school. This is an indiscriminate murder, and it's horrific. But London is back to work. The police are all over it. I've never seen so many people in town. But I'll tell you what, it changes your whole perspective. Because I actually went on we call it the Underground, you call it the subway, on Sunday. And you find yourself looking at every single person. What's in their bag? What are they holding? Is it a bomb? Is it going to go off? What is it? So obviously that's now because it's so near. In a few days it will probably go down. But I don't think we feel any different to how you would feel if it happened in Reno or in Vegas or in Los Angeles. London is a big city, and we will bounce back. It's not nice, I can tell you. And the number of people that have rang me and emails from America say, how are you? We hope you're okay. London's a massive big area. You know, it's hundreds of miles, and this was in a tiny part in the centre. But these people are cowards. They're disgusting animals, and we should only find them and shoot them.
David, is there any connection between these bombings and Britain's resolve to stay in the war in Iraq?
Well, we don't really know why these people have bombed us, but one of the things on one of the Muslim websites says you guys and George Bush and Tony Blair, that's our Prime Minister, have gone into Iraq and murdered innocent people, and now it's your turn. And listen, maybe it is. But I don't think Al-Qaeda, if that's who it's through, or we think it is, really needs any genuine reason to come after us, but quite possibly it is. And there are some people, nobody of course likes what's happened in London and death, and that's horrible, but some people will say, well, maybe they've got a point. Maybe we had no right to go into Iraq and kill hundreds of thousands of people just because we felt like it. But I think that's another story for another day. But it's certainly one of the reasons that are being bandied about, yes.
David, very quick answer on this, if you would, please, because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Are you seeing the Muslim communities in England, which is the majority of the Muslim communities in England, the more moderates, banding together to unearth the extremists?
Yes, and it's very encouraging for us to see. This is 99.9% of all the Muslims in England are good people. They're hard-working, they contribute. It's the tiny speck of a fraction of these terrorists that just ruin it for everybody. And the Muslims have come out in a loud voice and said, look, we disown these people, they have nothing to do with us, and we will help you find them. This is not us. It really isn't. And I believe them. I really do.
David King, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And good luck and be safe. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with Brian Krolicki right after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're joined by State Treasurer Brian Krolicki. Welcome to the program, Brian.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
Ray.
Okay, you're in the race for Lieutenant Governor. John Moran Jr. Appears to be raising a lot of money. Are you concerned?
You know, this is what, unfortunately, politics is often about, money. And we always anticipated having a seven-figure race for Lieutenant Governor. We're very comfortable where we are. We had a tough primary opponent who's a good friend of mine who's no longer in the primary. So I think we're doing just fine, and we are where we wish to be.
And you don't think you're going to have any problem raising seven figures?
I think we'll be okay.
Brian, you just returned from a trip to China, and as you know, the Lieutenant Governor has taken such a large role in tourism. You paid your own way on this trip. Was it to find out more about the Lieutenant Governor's role in Nevada tourism on an international basis?
You know, absolutely. And part of my past has been living overseas, working. When I was in banking, I worked overseas, so I have a natural affinity for those things. But the Lieutenant Governor, Lorraine Hunt, was very gracious and invited me along, and it's a great learning opportunity. So to help Nevada, take some private time.
All right, so what did you learn?
I learned that Nevada's an unbelievable market for Nevada. China is 1.4 billion people strong. They have scores of millions of millionaires in dollar terms. 90% of all of the Chinese tourists who visit the United States at some point in time come to Nevada. They are our longest staying guest, and they are some of our highest spending guests. And so if we can get direct airplane flights, if we can get more visas issued, it's a win-win for all of Nevada, and I was proud to be part of that delegation.
Isn't that one of the biggest concerns, the visa problem?
Absolutely, but it's gotten much better. There were about 250,000 annual visas, exit visas issued by our State Department in past years. Now it's closer to 500,000. But if we can make Nevada, Las Vegas primarily, in this case, the gateway to the West for the Pacific Rim folks, we have very few direct flights from Asia today, but if we can get direct flights from anywhere in China to Nevada, that's huge. There's no reason why they need to go to LA or San Francisco. We can do it here, we can do it more quickly, efficiently, and they're our guests.
Brian, let's go back to the legislature for a minute. And on the last night of the legislature, before the special session started, Governor Kenny Gwinn came in, and he was not in the best of moods. He came up to you and grabbed your arm, walked you back against the wall, put his finger in your nose and said, "You've done a great job, now leave it alone." Now, what was that about? Was he talking about the Millennium Scholarship? What brought out this such aggressive behavior in our governor?
Well, I think he, like everyone else, was extremely frustrated with the evening. I have a very warm relationship with Kenny Gwinn. I think
it seemed hot that night instead of warm.
We are two very passionate people about the Millennium Scholarship. I mean, he's the father of the scholarship. I think I've spent untold hours devoted to making sure this thing was rolled out and done and is preserved. And we were working hard. And I see him more as a coach on the sideline. Now, he's a coach. He's been a coach. And I'm one of his key players. And let's just make sure we do this right. And, I mean, he was, there was no messing around when you're about to go into a special session. But we agreed on 99% of the changes with the Millennium Scholarship. We're on the same page. He knew exactly what I was doing, and he supported what I was doing.
Okay, about the Millennium Scholarship, I recall last February, leadership of the legislature and leadership and the constitutional officers got together, had a press conference, and said, this is how we're going to save the Millennium Scholarship. Then bada bing, a month later, the Assembly Democrats come out with another plan that blows everything up, and here we have it. We go to a special session because of the arguments over the Millennium Scholarship. Why didn't we just stick with the original plan?
I think I was asking that question when the legislation we had proposed to accommodate that plan that had been agreed to never had a hearing on the Assembly side, which obviously we're very disappointed about. I thought there was a handshake. You and I all saw that publicly in the governor's office, and if people had kept their word appropriately, I think we would have avoided a special session.
Okay.
And that's where we got to leave it. Brian Krolicki, thank you so much for being here. We
Thanks
appreciate it.
me.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof.
Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we are joined by Dr. Richard Carpenter. He's the president of Southern Nevada Community College. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning.
Back in January, the Las Vegas Sun quoted you as saying that your regime will be one of constant change, renovation, and innovation. How's that working out for you?
Well, I think we've been pretty busy at that. We've made quite a number of administrative changes. We've trimmed about $1 million a year of administrative cost by eliminating and combining positions. Really focusing much more on accountability so that we identify specifically how performance, individual and team performance, will be evaluated up front. State those out in written objective form, and then we know when we come back what we're looking at to evaluate performance. That sounds like pretty common sense, but it's not something that we've practiced to any focus degree here at the college historically. Not to say that we haven't evaluated performance, but not quite to the extent that we're doing now.
Okay, you took over a community college that was basically according to the way the public looks at it, in a crisis. What did you find when you got there?
Absolutely a crisis. But I knew coming into this, well, actually what attracted me to this position. I'm late in my career, and so I wasn't looking just for. Actually, I wasn't looking for a job at all. But if I was going to make a change from what I was doing, I really wanted something that would be challenging, and I certainly found it. This is an outstanding college. It really is, and wonderful people, very, very hardworking, very motivated, dedicated people who care about students. We've had some internal strife. We've had some issues with very rapid growth that the policies that were in place could not accommodate. So we had almost a policy-less environment, which created many fiefdoms and to some degree, some internal chaos, redundancies, inefficiencies, and the like. But the one thing I found when I came on board is, in spite of all of that, and in spite of the churning of leadership here for quite a number of years at all levels of the institution, I found a rock-solid faculty and staff who somehow were keeping the ship floating and moving forward in the face of those changes, and we're really ready to grasp some change. I've not met the resistance to change here that one might have expected. There was almost an eagerness for some order and some policies and rules and procedures, and so I'm just now finishing my first year, and I've enjoyed it very much.
Doctor, talking about performance, let's talk about your students' performance. You roughly have 35,000 students there, but only 1,700 graduated last May. With that number of students, don't you think your graduation rate should be at least 5,000 a year?
Well, no, it shouldn't be. But now I'm going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. First of all, at community college, the vast majority of students who attend a community college are not pursuing a degree. Quite a number. We have thousands of students who have 4-year degrees who come to CCSN. So they're not eager to earn a 2-year degree. They are upgrading skills, keeping themselves viable in the workforce. That's one of the unique things that community colleges do, and the public sometimes doesn't understand that it's a different mission from a university where typically a freshman is expected to graduate 4 to 5 years after they enroll. Most of the community college students are working, many are holding down 2 jobs, supporting a family, and taking classes part-time. So you don't get quite the graduation rate that anywhere 5 or 10,000 that you would expect when you just look at raw numbers. Having said all of that, that sounds defensive. Now let me admit that we do have a problem in that area. I don't believe that 1,700 is adequate. I don't think it's it's out of sync with national norms. Probably about 3,000 would be in sync with national norms. 3,000 to 3,500. Generally, the national norms for community colleges is roughly 8 to 10% of your head count, which and we are well below that. So we are looking at what we can do to address that. We've got, for instance, our advising for students. We have some 26 counselors who advise 35,000 students. Now, we all know, just common sense will tell us that when you have 26 people advising 35,000, there's not a lot of advising going on. I mean, the people who are served well, but the sheer numbers you can't do that. So what we are putting into place this upcoming year, we're going to engage more faculty in the advising process. We also are going to be hiring a team of people who are not counselors and who are not faculty, but whose sole job in the world is to advise students. They will be trained and equipped with the technology that so that we can get more proactive advising taking place. And so many of our students now, so they can't get proper advising, advise themselves, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Let me bring up a topic that was talked about a lot on this program prior to you coming on board. During the Wendell Williams scandal, we heard a lot about Bridget Jones. Whatever became of her?
She's still at the college, still works. She is now working on the Cheyenne campus.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. We just wanted to clear that up.
Yep.
We would love to have you come back and talk more. We're out of time today, but we want to thank you for being here today. We appreciate it, and welcome back from your vacation.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we joined on our Power Pundit panel today with Dick Gammick, Washoe County District Attorney, Marlene Lockard with Capital Strategies, and Howard Rosenberg, University Regent. Welcome to all of you. We ran out of time with our interview with Dr. Carpenter, but I was rather surprised that Bridget Jones still has a job when almost nobody else does from that scandal. Professor Rosenberg, would you like to comment?
Lovely weather we're having if it doesn't snow, don't you think?
Is that as far as you're going to go with that?
Bet me. I don't think that it's appropriate for me to make a comment on that, mainly because that is the purview of the individual presidents. I find it difficult at times, but I just ignore it.
Howard, what about Southern Nevada Community College that only 1,700 of their students a year are getting are graduating?
Community college is a very, very strange hybrid for us. The way that it was explained to me, and as I go into it, I can see what happens. Kids, for instance, let's say, will come into the culinary program. They'll work for a semester, maybe 2 semesters. Then they get jobs. I mean, they're actually, the hotels come out and grab them and give them jobs that pay them more money than they've ever made in their lives. So they leave school. Normally they'll come back, but it'll take about 2 years to get them back because they'll have reached the glass ceiling and they need more training to go on. That happens in all kinds of things. Auto mechanic program. They are desperate in Southern Nevada for auto mechanics. These kids don't finish the program, and they get jobs that pay them $60,000 a year.
They must be getting jobs very quickly because 25% of the freshmen that enroll in that college drop out before the end of the semester.
Yes, and that's not good. That's retention. That's a different can of worms to open. The thing that guts me is we're always talking about advisement and how important advisement is. Yet all of our units tend to do pretty much the same thing. They farm advisement out to an advisement center. I don't believe in that. Advisement belongs in the individual academic departments. And there needs to be 1, 2, 3 or more academic advisors in each department to get the kids through. That way they know that you know what you're talking about and you know what's happening with your students. That's the way we handle it in the art department up at UNR.
Okay, I think we've gone along this route. I want to change
the
subject if I may. As you all know, because I've been going on about it for the last couple of weeks, I'm very concerned about the jailing of Judith Miller of the New York Times for a story that she didn't write because she would not give up her sources. And even more chilling now, the editor of the Cleveland Plain Dealer said that the newspaper, acting on the advice of its lawyers, this is a major newspaper in this country, was withholding publication of 2 major investigative articles because they were based on illegally leaked documents and could lead to penalties against the paper and the jailing of reporters. This is just, I think this is incredible.
Well, you know, I think we're on a slippery slope here. In one sense, the reporter is protecting someone who broke the law, but the journalists in this country, the Fourth Estate, has always acted and had the role of exposing problems in government and corruption in government. If you take away whistleblower status or this protection of those that risk breaking the law so that the truth is revealed, it puts us in a very precarious position. In this instance, the leak wasn't to do good and expose corruption. It was to do someone in, an individual in, and try to ruin the careers of a couple of folks. So, you know, you can't say it's okay when we expose corruption, but it's not okay if the motives aren't pure. Well, Carl, so it gets very tricky in my view.
Karl Rove has now been revealed as the person who revealed this information from the Matthew Cooper with Time Magazine as the source there. You're a prosecutor. How do you feel about this?
I don't really address this too much anymore, Sam, after what the Nevada Supreme Court did here about 4 years ago when they basically gave media carte blanche, total complete protection on everything. The state law was written here to protect sources if they were unknown But what the Supreme Court said is basically, I'm waiting for the first crime report we get from a news person who's on duty, because I don't even think we can take statements from them. I don't think we can put them on the stand. And the Supreme Court said specifically they can't waive any of these rights. So they gave them complete protection in this state.
Well,
so I don't worry about it a whole lot anymore in that respect. I think each case I think that's wrong. I think every case has to be looked at separately. I understand the freedom of speech. I understand other areas that are looked into here. But you can't just make a blanket rule across the board, and because you do wind up with these very kinds of issues.
Well, the wrong person is in jail here. It shouldn't be Mrs. Miller. It should be Carl Rowe for leaking that information. If there's any crime committed, that would be the crime.
But that's exactly the point. If Mr. Fleck is a hero for revealing Watergate, felt is Mr. Rove just because his motives weren't pure. What's the difference between the two? They both broke the law.
Howard?
I don't know. I honestly don't.
Well,
we're taught from when we're little kids, don't be a tattletale. Okay? So there's the first thing that hits you. And then right off of that, if I find something out and it needs to be reported, then it's my job to report it. That's what a journalist does. And I don't give up my sources. And no one has the right to put me in jail because I won't tell them what my sources are as long as there's a third party that can vet the truth of what's being said.
And Ray and I could not do our jobs if on a daily basis people didn't talk to us off the record with the knowledge that they are protected. Would you not agree? You've got about 10 seconds here.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Judith Mill needs to be out of jail, and people need to realize that the media is under attack. And
how tough is a jail sentence? I'm just wondering if she's got the O.J. Simpson kind of jail cell here.
You know something? The bottom line is that the media in this country is under attack by the government, and it needs to stop, and the public needs to figure out what's going on.
It's the Bush administration that's at the bottom of it.
We're out of time.
Oh, slap Bush.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
Right, your senators and congressmen, we need a national shield law for journalists. Ray, who's coming up tomorrow?
Well, Sam, we have Vince Consul of the Nevada State Bar Association and some folks from Planned Parenthood.
We'll see you then.
Thank you.